everybody, it is Behind the Bow, and we are driving behind the bow today. It is Resurrection Sunday, so for those of you who call it Easter or Passover or nothing at all, we want to wish you a happy one. But today we are actually talking about words that tear men down. So we apologize that this is like super late. I posted that we had some difficulties in our post-production. It didn't work. So we are hoping that this one definitely works, and that you will be able to get this out there. There's no problem, blah, blah, blah. And at any rate, so we're going to talk about words that tear men down. One of the things that we want to definitely say is that women speak their mind regularly, and we talk about things to men, and we're saying that we are we tell men the way that we feel, hoping that they understand them. But what we do is we fail to say, or we fail to give any regard on how they're feeling when we're saying it. We just kind of say, hey, this is what I'm feeling, this is what you're not doing, this is what you're not saying, this is how you're not acting. And we say it without any regard for how they might be feeling about what we're saying or what we're doing at the time. And we're using some pretty dramatic words when we're saying it, right, Earl?
Yeah, I think you're saying in hopes to elicit some type of response. And then when it doesn't get the response that you're looking for, then that causes another issue.
Right.
Being that, women tend to be a bit more emotional and men less emotional. Mm-hmm. We get the conflict where we've got logic talking to emotion and vice versa, and those two don't communicate very well. But what happens is when you're trying to convey whatever it is going on or trying to elicit that response, many times some women use words or make statements that they shouldn't use, and what happens is, like you said, it begins to tear men down. They start to feel like, in many cases, that they're actually less than the man they thought they were.
Right.
Which is a whole other set of issues, because now you've got a man that's feeling diminished and feeling demeaned, and at some point he begins to feel unappreciated and unsupported. And again, we've got a snowball effect that just continues to build on and build on. And I think what we wanted to talk about is how women could build them up instead of helping tear them down.
Absolutely. I think one of the other issues is that women, we want to make sure that, women tend to go and we get angry and we let things build up. And we, in our back of our mind, we kind of all worked it out. We're angry. And then when we get to be kind of like diarrhea at the mouth, and then we're having these discussions, every part of anger comes out. And then we get to the point where the man is feeling very, as Earl said, very unappreciated. And at that point, we are not feeling that, we're not appreciating them at all. We're not appreciating anything that they're doing. We're not appreciating anything that they're saying. And we're not appreciating anything that of value that they are bringing to the relationship or the marriage. And one of the things that Earl was saying is that we can build them up. If they're feeling unappreciated, how do you make them feel appreciated? We take those things and we kind of flip them, and we make them, whatever they're bringing to the marriage, whatever they're bringing to the relationship, find those pieces and say, listen, I know you're trying this and I appreciate this. What can I do to help you? Now, the other point that we're saying, the words that we use when men are being torn down, is that they feel, Earl said, unsupported. Earl, you want to talk about that?
Right. So it kind of, the whole thing is, I think, unappreciated and unsupported kind of go hand in hand. They hold hands. They're bedfellows, definitely, because when you feel unappreciated, you naturally start feeling unsupported, and you're doing all that you can do, all that you know to do, and that's a key. So you're doing all that you know to do. And let me stop there for a minute, because that can be a big issue as well. If I don't, or if my partner, my spouse, my wife doesn't communicate what she needs, and I'm doing all that I know to try to satisfy her and make her happy, but what I know is not what she needs, then she's still upset.
Yeah.
And I become frustrated and feeling unappreciated, appreciated, because I'm doing all that I know to do,
Right.
but I'm not giving her what she needs still.
Right.
So we've got to look at that. So women, when you're communicating with your spouse, let him know exactly what you need. I know we get into the he should know. We've been together 5 years. He should know. Listen, us guys, we miss a lot of stuff, and we do not know.
Right.
And when we say we don't know, we're not trying to be funny.
Right.
We're not trying to be difficult.
Yeah.
We literally do not know.
Right.
Help us out so we can help you out,
Right.
and let us know what that thing is.
Right.
And then you can hold us accountable for not doing that thing once it's been communicated.
Exactly.
Because when men want to be in good relationships,
Right,
right?
right.
No man wants to be married and be miserable.
right.
No woman wants to be married and be miserable.
Nobody.
So if we can communicate and if we can be supportive of one another, then we can also be appreciative of one another. When you're not feeling appreciated, you want to do less, because you feel that I've been working, I've been humping, I've been doing this, I've been doing that. I'm trying to do everything again that I know, and all I get is ragged.
Right.
All I get is insulted. All I get is demeaned. All I get is diminished. And I'm the one that's working the extra hours, or I'm the one that's putting in extra time. And nobody wants to feel like that, man or woman. Nobody wants to feel like that. So we want to speak, like my wife said, encouragement. Baby, I know you put in them extra hours so we can make the bills. I know you're doing this to make it happen. And God knows I really appreciate everything that you're doing. I really do. And then you can use those opportunities to bring in some of the things that you still need. Baby, I know you're doing this, but if we could do this and I can help you with it, because I really feel a certain way, and if you could help me do this, then we can make this together. You want to feel like a team.
Right.
But it's all about that communication and allowing both parties to feel appreciated, nobody to be left out, and everybody ends up feeling supported.
And one of the things that you were saying, nobody wants to be ragged. And I when we counsel men, I always tell them don't bring the N word in, and it's not the black word we talk about, but it's the nag word. I never let men bring the nag word in, because women, we do nag. But the thing that I don't want women to do is to get to the point where we're chapping at men to where they aren't open or feel open enough to talk, or there's not a safe space for them to talk. Even though Earl said for them to be able to for us to tell them what they need to be able to tell us what they want. Earl, as much as he does not talk, there is a safe space for him to talk when he needs to, so that I know what I need to do in this relationship. And that needs to happen, women, in any relationship. If there is something that needs to happen, both of the communication needs to go both ways, so that yes, he's the man, he runs things, I'm there to support him, but I cannot play my role in anything if I don't know what's going on. So women, please, by all means, make it so that there is a safe space for your spouse or your significant other, to be able to talk and tell you what's going on, and that you're not netting at him all the time to where he's saying, never mind, I can't get a word in edgewise. Which brings us to the last point of them feeling isolated and feeling alone. If there's no safe space, then they make their own space. Right?
They shut down.
Right.
If you don't feel supported, if you don't feel appreciated, if there's no safe space, and that's a very important piece that she mentioned. If I feel like I can't speak to you without, I don't know, maybe rubbing you the wrong way or getting you upset or saying something that's going to make the situation worse, then at some point I stop speaking.
Right.
I shut down. And when I shut down, I become isolated. And that's what happens to many men. Women, I know your man's tough. I know your man's hard. However, he does also have emotions.
Yes.
And we as men have difficulty dealing with that sometimes. We have difficulty expressing that sometimes. Nevertheless, they do exist.
Yes.
And when we start to shut down, that means, like she said, we're isolating ourselves and we're putting ourselves on an island, because at this point we feel, what difference does it make?
Right.
It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter all the work I do. It doesn't matter all the support I try to give. It doesn't matter that I'm doing the best I know how. It all ends up to the same thing as me being wrong.
Yes.
And me doing wrong.
Yes.
So I shut down, and that way I do my best to fight through it myself.
Yes.
But that makes for a miserable relationship.
It does.
It makes for a situation where eventually the relationship's going to fail, the marriage is going to fail.
Yep.
Because again, nobody wants to be miserable.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be in a marriage and feel that they're alone.
Right. Exactly.
I think that's probably one of the worst things in the world, because when you got married, when you got in a relationship, you did so with the idea that this is my partner, this is my helpmeet, this is the person that's going to stick beside me, this is the person that's going to help me out in those tough times. Yeah. This is the person that I can lean on when I can't lean on anybody else. Yeah. And now I don't even have that. So I'm doing all the hard work in a relationship, right? I'm putting in all the effort. But the benefit of having somebody else to lean on isn't there.
Yeah.
So we want to find a way not to isolate our spouses, men and women alike. Don't isolate one another. Don't put people in a position where they feel that they cannot express themselves.
Right.
I think that's one of the most dangerous things that you can do in a relationship. And it's very easy, I think, for women and men in particular, to get caught in that trap.
Oh my God.
And because by nature, us men, we can't let anybody know we're weak. Can't let anybody know we can't do this. We can't let anybody know that we have these shortcomings.
Right.
And in that, if I've got somebody stressing to me all those very shortcomings that I'm trying so desperately to hide and protect in the first place, the easiest way to do that then is to pull back. And isolate myself. Yep. And that way I can defend myself by myself, on myself. That makes sense?
It makes a lot of sense. And then, with all of that, it being isolated, the B part of that is then you kind of feel hopeless, and you're like, it's all for nothing.
No way out.
Yeah, it's that. What difference does it make? The marriage is pretty much over from that standpoint. If the marriage isn't over, then the relationship, the trust is over, the commitment is over. It's just over, and you don't want that. You're just kind of going through the motions. There's really nothing there that's holding you there. And so, if by all means your words, the necessity for you to say what you have to say to get it out, for you to be the strong one, for you to, you're going to hear what I have to hear. And that's the thing that we're doing now. We just have to say it. We just got to get it out. We just have to be heard. Sometimes you just either need to pray, you just need to write it down, put it in a journal. I don't know. But just watch what you say. Some things are just better left unsaid or said in a different way.
Watch what you say and how you say it.
Right. I mean, if there is something that needs to be said, kind of look and see if there's something being done, or if your spouse is trying it one way and maybe it's just not working the way that they're trying. That doesn't mean they're not doing it, so you just kind of got to watch what you're doing and what you're saying. So that's what we wanted to talk about today on Driving Behind the Veil. You probably saw we have a passenger in the back. We're coming from our Resurrection Day service, and wanted to kind of just give you our take on words that tear men down. We hope that you guys have had a awesome time listening to us. Women, watch it. That's coming from me. Earl, what's coming from you?
Communicate, and listen.
I think those were our first two tapings, so which reminds me to make sure that you I always mess up on this, that you follow us. That's what I want to say, on Facebook and Instagram at Behind the Vow.
Wow.
Also on, we have our website, www.behindthevow.com. And we're always available for fishing services and counseling services. Thank you so much. We are driving Behind the Vow, and we will be coming to a taping near you. Watch out for us on live sometime and for more tapings, postings.
Is it taping or recording?
Wow.
You old school.
I'm old school.
Taping.
He's calling me old. I'm sorry. Postings, recordings, whatever it is. We'll be back. Thanks. See you guys. Bye.